that had flipped over, left him semi-paralyzed in his lower extremities. But he would share with me how that when he was in the IDF, he said we used to go and target practice on the Palestinians. And at first I thought he's just kidding. And so I asked him, I said, Iran, I said, are you serious? I mean, you guys target practice on Palestinians? And I mean, I was not fond of Palestinians, but yet living in Israel, I developed relationships with Palestinians, because they were very hospitable people. They were very kind. I never, occasionally you run into someone that was kind of bitter, but there was reasons for that. And at the time, I just did not understand that as deeply as I do now. But to know that these type things, and he asserted it. He said, no, it's true. He said, I've killed 2 or 3 Palestinians since I was in the military. He said, because we would target practice on them. And that really bothered me. And yet I still was thinking, okay, Israel's supposed to return to the homeland biblically. I had not separated the two between what was happening in the mid-1800s under the Ottoman Empire when the Arabic Jews were purchasing land, which would have been more of an appropriate way of return than that of 1948 moving forward, where the Ashkenazi Jews from Europe come in and just plow their way through the land.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about, you guys built up quite a platform covering the pro-Zionist angle, and then you switched. Was there a certain event that happened or a certain issue that really pushed that change? And then what was it like losing subscribers and people getting angry with you, and then building it up again now with your new audience?
Well, I'll bring in one thing that really began to deal with my heart on this, and then I think Yana should really weigh in on this as well. But for me, what happened to start with was the situation in Syria. We saw the quote-unquote civil war start in Syria. Mm-hmm. In 2013, the gas attack that was blamed on Assad was really, and at that time, I was very much for, Obama saying, all right, we're going to have to go in there and take this guy out. But as a news organization of our own, we were investigating, and Yana does a lot of the research in the background, but we both research together, and we research multiple languages because we have so many languages in our family. But we stumbled across Aaron Erdem, and Aaron Erdem, he was a Turkish MP member at the time. He did go on RT as well, but he was putting the blame of this chemical attack on not on the Syrian government, Bashar al-Assad, but he was putting it on the Turkish government. And then Seymour Hersh, of course, as well, and one other journalist that was murdered in Turkey by the government, in my opinion. We're all bringing this information out. And I began to build the case and see that the United States' hand was involved in this, smuggling the sarin gas from Libya through Turkey via Erdogan when he was then prime minister. And Aaron Erdem kind of brought in all the links, how the government had a case against them. And so seeing this and seeing the evidence that Assad was not guilty as he was claimed to be guilty, that's what began to turn me to say, wait a minute, something's going on. Mm-hmm. And of course, there were the links with Israel as well that we were uncovering in the news, and that's part where we begin to grow this from, and it just got even larger. If you'll pick up on that.
Yeah, and then we also living there, we talked to ex-IDF and majors and generals, and they confirmed to us that there is many ISIS members who were tzitzit, and they speak Hebrew. So we started our investigation on ISIS and how this came to be about, how this started, the whole ISIS thing and who is behind it. And we found out with our investigation, it was Israeli Mossad and CIA of the United States. So all of these things led us to kind of abandon this Zionist idea. And even when speaking from religious point, we found out that the people who are in government today in Israel are basically children of the Zionists who persecuted their own Jewish people in World War II, and they made agreements with the Nazi government. So we started investigation on many fronts, and we found out that it's absolutely wrong to support Zionism. and it's very wrong to support what's going on.